Hey, greetings from a lovely, the lovely ski slope chalet that I'm staying at for a few days. Got a little bit of a free vacation hookup. Anyway, it's closing in on mid-September. Fall is on the air. The leaves, as you can see from the lovely hillside over there, have only just faintly begun to change, but it'll be a quite dramatic shift that will occur over the next 2 weeks. Yesterday, we were up somewhere over here, up on the Peak of Smuggler's Notch. Indeed, that's where I'm coming to you from today. But there's still a number of flowers going off. Took a little walk with a llama a couple days ago and down through the woods here. There's, you know, some nice solidago, actually numerous members of the family Asteraceae, all in bloom, plus some nice gentians that we can go take a look at, and whatever else we have to come across. I was expecting there to be a bit more going on in this on the slope here, but evidently that's not the case. So we'll walk around for a little bit. We'll see what's going on. In a couple days, we'll take a ride out to Lake Champlain, and I'm going to show you, even though it's a bit late in the season to really get the gist of it, I'll show you some of the cool differences in plant life that occurs, you know, from where I'm from, which is far southeastern New England, to you know, where that location is in far northwestern New England. I don't know why I'm mentioning all that now, but let's go see some fall wildflowers. Let's go see what's going on. Well, we decided to head over underneath a different lift trail, and lo and behold, we found basically exactly what I was hoping to find: a nice low swale, which is very damp, as evidenced by the fact that my knees are soaking wet, full of Spiranthes orchids. Nice little patch of ladies' tresses, some of our last, probably our latest blooming genus of orchid in New England. You know, Spiranthes, Orchidaceae, very close relatives of a number of other you know, species in that subfamily, and they're doing quite well here on the side of this ski slope. We're underneath the lift right now, coming up in a real beautiful community here, with a number of cool sedges and rushes that I wish I could tell you more about. Also, Agalinis and Drosera, carnivorous plants, which I'll show you in a second. So one can only guess that this, you know, this leached little swale, which is just kind of a permanently damp grass bank, is rather free of nutrients. It doesn't even look like they really cut it that aggressively here. Probably just not much grows. So, you know, from above, this looked like a little patch of jewels. And I'll zoom out for you for a second so you can get an idea of how expansive the little thickets of these can be. This is one that, if you're just so lucky, you could even have these come up in your yard. They really do look like eye-catching little jewels. I'll have to take some really good pictures and key these ones out. They're growing rather small, but that's not surprising, considering, you know, we're probably about a good 1,200, 1,300 feet up right now. It gets cold here. It got really cold last night. So Spiranthes, great genus of orchids. I mean, they can be quite abundant where they occur. Just, yeah, I had a hunch I'd be running into these this week at some point. Some species are quite common, of course. Like, you know, it's a very speciose genus here in New England. Some species can be quite rare. You know, Cernua, Ochroluca, Acrosepala. Some of them can be, you know, pretty darn common, and others, like Casei, are rather restricted. So I'll do some work. I'll see if I can figure out what particular species these guys are. And I'm guessing that is, of course, that they are all the same species, but I'm not really seeing much variation betwixt them, except for you know, except for the general height of them. So now, when you get orchids, you generally also get some really cool sedges, rushes, grasses, etc. Etc. Ha ha ha. Trying to get more into, come on, focus for me. Trying to get more into these, and the camera's going to throw a hissy fit, of course. I'm guessing this is a rush just because it's round, but I could be mistaken. It could be some sort of sedge, and the leaves down there are the actual sedge-like leaves. More to come, but I haven't seen this anywhere else other than this one spot. So maybe it's something cool. Even if it's a common species, a lot of them can be quite interesting. Where was that Agalinis? There it is. This purple guy right here. hemiparasitic Agalinis species, again with these Come on. You gotta be really, really good with them. Little hemiparasites. I saw most of them have wrapped up here. If I can conveniently find one that has, I'd be happy to show that to you. Some other manner of orchid was growing here as well. This guy right here. Not sure if that's just a small Spiranthes or if that was something like a Platanthera. Could certainly be just a small Spiranthes, but their infrutescences generally look a bit more impressive. And then here, I saw these. I was expecting Drosera to be growing here, and of course you look down below there. Those sticky leaves on their way out, but still recognizable as Drosera rotundifolia. Lovely carnivorous and a quite common plant that oftentimes will make its home right here in these little left to their own devices habitats, for lack of a better term there. That really is the best way I can explain it. Unbothered, uninfluenced by too much, human encroachment. Certainly, you come here in the wintertime, be getting quite a bit of traffic, but this is buried by snow. Here's one of the Agalinis that's wrapped up. Those fruits there are really, really kind of give it away. Orobanchaceae is a family. So like I said, in a habitat like this, everything's got a scheme. So these Spiranthes orchids are heavily mycorrhizal. Drosera is carnivorous. This Agalinis is a hemiparasite. We'll go look at another hemiparasite right now, one that's growing right by. I was going to do this more on some of the woodland stuff, but maybe we can just do botany of a ski slope. There's a lot of interesting stuff growing right here. I mean, that just was a, almost 6-minute little cut to film. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy, just very interesting. And if you're willing to, hike out of the way a little bit, you can find lots of cool stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if there's other orchids growing in this little habitat besides these Spiranthes. They would obviously be done at this point in the year. So you get your Spiranthes, you got an orchid, you got a carnivore, and you got a hemiparasite, and perhaps a, barring any critical errors by me, some cool graminoid there. So let's stop walking around in here, stop messing it up, leave it as intact as possible, and go see what else is growing. Yeah, they just drop off right about here. There's a couple more up there, but they like this little permanently wet spot. Let's go see what else is going on around here. There's some real cool plants from this general area that I saw back in June. A real cool carnivore. I have a hunch that it's not really that rare. People just aren't really looking in the right locations. So we'll see what else we can see. Yeah, okay, came up just a little bit of a ways, and there's even more Spiranthes. Here is another member of the family Orobanchaceae. This is a Euphrasia. All right, this is another hemiparasite. Love this one. I have seen numerous times on ski slopes. Absolutely loves this type of habitat. Likes the alpine stuff. I never really see it down low, although allegedly a number of these species are pretty widespread. Get some rare ones in New England. Get some kind of invasive ones, though I don't really think they ever do much to bother. I've never seen one with this purple tinge. The real common ones, one is invasive and one is native, and they both look almost identical. But I've never quite seen the purple tinged one, so I'll have to get back to you. Again, I was coming out here expecting to not find much and just go down and show you a couple of the cool woodland species, but it's nice when you can actually get some other interesting stuff you didn't always expect to see. But I had a hunch I'd find a cool little habitat like this on the ski slope. But when you open things up and you keep things damp, which ski slopes are often damp when you think about what, they are typically the paths of least resistance down the mountains. They collect a lot of water. The combination of open disturbed habitats and wet dampness, and then also alpine, high elevation, at least for the region, get some interesting stuff. Get some real interesting stuff. It's an interesting juxtaposition here. So that boggy, swampy, orchidy swale habitat, I'm still standing in it, but as I'm looking up the hill directly from it, you get a whole bunch of this stuff. This is, oh god, it's either Anaphalis. It's one of the Anaphalis tribe. There aren't too many of them. Shouldn't be that hard to figure out what it is. But the colloquial name for these, which are much more one of those taxa that is much more abundant in the southern hemisphere, is paper daisies. Now they get that name from the fact that those aren't the petals there. Those are the phyllaries modified to look like petals. Could be an Anaphalis, could be a pseudonephalium. Antenaria There's another one in this tribe, but those bloom kind of, you know, early in the spring. The pussy toes. There, oh, I had it for a second. There we go. That's beautiful. So it still has, as you would expect from any aster, those disc florets down in the center. Those are all the fertile flowers, aggregated very small, and around it is the phyllaries you would expect to see, you know, normally on something like a look at what's got notable phyllaries. Of course, now I'm gonna forget literally any genus, but think of a sunflower. Those green petal-looking things that are just below the actual petals, which aren't petals at all. They're just ligulate florets. Yeah, those are these. On these plants, they're white, and they are the primary floral attractant. Not the petals or flowers, but the phyllaries. Now, see, here's a solidago right next door. And it has, if you pay really close attention, because the flowers in solidago is honestly a really bad Asteraceae. Same family, by the way. These two things are in the same family, Asteraceae, just different tribes. Maybe even different subfamilies. Those little yellow petal-looking things, yeah, those are modified florets. And the green things forming the cup, those are the phyllaries. So, white phyllaries, green phyllaries, different uses for them functionally. And as you can see, this plant's super chalky and white. These things can thrive in just terrible, you know, dry, sandy conditions, but evidently they're not too picky because they're growing really well here. It's an Anaphalis or it's a sundew. I don't really think it could be anything else besides that, unless I'm just, you know, forgetting a genus of these. Again, not too many of them in the northern hemisphere, and the ones we get are typically very weedy and very widespread. Not that I would consider this a weed. I consider these, you know, very beautiful plants, almost looking like snow on top of this little crest here. You know, great plant, fascinating one, and but kind of surprised to see it growing here. But then again, you know, any plant that's going to survive in New England is typically going to be able to take quite a bit of moisture. It's more the quality of the soil you have to worry about here. And based on the fact that we're seeing so many hemiparasites, we're seeing orchids, we're seeing, especially the Drosera, you can bet that the soil is pretty leached and pretty, you know, either the nitrogen that's here can't be used because it can't be broken down, or there's just a general lack of nutrients. You know, take your pick. It could be anything other. Case in point, difficult growing conditions require plants to have interesting adaptations. Some sort of Anaphalis, maybe Pseudonephalium, maybe Anaphalis, pearly everlasting is a common name for it. They're all quite beautiful and quite interesting, if not, you know, weedy and common. Anyway, go see what else is going on. Maybe I probably will actually cut this into 2 different segments. This is fascinating enough on its own. I'll do 2 short videos. I got to stretch this out.